Dave Brat of Virginia. Congressman, thanks so much for being with us. Your caucus has one fewer members this morning. You know, Ted Poe left the Freedom Caucus. He said you guys would vote against the 10 Commandments. You would say no even to the 10 Commandments. A few minutes ago, we had Mike Turner, not a member of the caucus, but your Republican colleague from Ohio, say that you guys acted with a mob mentality. Your reaction to this morning to this criticism?
Yeah, my reaction is the press is a little dramatic. We had no hard time getting to yes over the last 6 years on 50 votes to repeal Obamacare. So if the press would do its job and report the news, we've all voted 50 times. We all voted yes.
Congressman,
the Freedom Caucus members, let me finish the sentence.
Okay.
The Freedom Caucus has had no hard time getting to yes on the past 50 votes that all the House members and all the Senate members. This is a new bill that came out 3 weeks ago. We're working with President Trump, who's done an outstanding job messaging. His goal is the forgotten man to drive down prices. We were negotiating. We were this far from getting those prices down. It's all the insurance regs. President Trump did an outstanding job negotiating. We're about there. It's still going to happen. And so the drama needs to ramp down. And everybody just keep an eye on the prize, which is the prices of health care down, so we help the forgotten man and clean the swamp of all this drama, which can only take place in Washington, D.C.
All right, two things. All right, not the press that was saying mob mentality. It was your fellow Republicans, so just that point of fact. And the second thing is you say calm down, too much drama being made of this in the press. It's the president who said he has no interest in moving forward with you guys on health care. He said this was your shot, it's done, he's moving on to tax reform. So are you hearing otherwise?
Yeah, I heard otherwise from the president the day of the vote. I mean, that's what the press is selective in creating a narrative. The president said when Obamacare crashes, which it is because it's in a death spiral, prices are going up 25% a year. You at home, your health insurance prices will double in 4 years. Under the CBO score, the new bill, prices are going to go up 15 to 20% until 2020. That's not remembering the forgotten man back home. Trump ran on that. Trump ran on all the big town halls in Florida with 25,000. He said repeal. The crowd went nuts. This bill wasn't out when he was campaigning. And so when he said repeal, everyone knew what repeal meant. Now we have a very complex federally run system that we're going to have to negotiate within those parameters. And so to say that we're not negotiating in good faith and moving the bars is false. We moved the bars when we moved away from the 50 times we voted yes for repeal. We all got to yes 50 times.
And let me just also add that one person who I know you will agree is not a member of the press is President Donald Trump, who also, you said, you know, he had some nice words for you last week and is a good salesman, but he also has been critical of the House Freedom Caucus. Let me read you what he wrote this weekend. He said Democrats are smiling in D.C. that the Freedom Caucus, these are his words, the president's, with the help of Club for Growth and Heritage, have saved Planned Parenthood and Obamacare. That's the president criticizing the Freedom Caucus. Again, not the press. Go ahead.
Yep. Yeah, let me get to that one on the Planned Parenthood issue and all that. This bill, which is a federally run system with prices going up still, has to go to the Senate, where it will be weakened, right? But some senators over there are already working on a deal. We can put bucket 2 and bucket 3 into this bill and have a total success for President Trump. So I think he's being ill-advised about even the critique of the House Freedom Caucus. Some of those promises won't make their way into law. And that's what we're fighting for. We want President Trump to be a success. If prices go up through 2020, that's going to pose a problem for our voters back home. And so we're trying to make sure that his primary themes, he said, I want shopping across state lines. I want the price to come down. I remember the forgotten man. I want to get rid of the swamp in D.C. When you're running 1/6 of the U.S. economy, healthcare, through the federal government, when Social Security and Medicare are already insolvent, and we're $100 trillion light and $20 trillion in debt on the next generation, I don't think people want the federal government running their healthcare system like we ran mortgages 8 years ago when we created the financial crisis. That's the nearest analogy, right? We said, we care about you. We're going to run your mortgages. Let's do liar loans. We imploded the only safe asset class, which was the American home, into the ground. We don't want to do that with healthcare. We're fighting for the American people along with President Trump, who's doing an outstanding job.
All right, look, your party in control of the White House and Congress could not get health care done. That is just the fact. Sounds like you think you will at some point. Okay. But you've also got a real challenge ahead of you when it comes to the budget. I mean, come April 29th, marking 100 days of this administration, the government could shut down if folks, when it comes to the funding of Planned Parenthood, for example. Would you favor a shutdown if the budget plan does not fully defund Planned Parenthood? Would you favor a government shutdown?
Yeah, the press always puts these tough hypothetical questions to us instead of looking at the major issues that matter.
Question.
The press.
That's not a hypothetical question. That's an actual question. Would you favor a government shutdown in lieu of a budget not defunding Planned Parenthood?
Right. We do not favor a government shutdown. No one favors a government shutdown. Markets want stability. We all know that. We're going to get there. We're going to go do tax reform. The press needs to focus its attention on $100 trillion in unfunded liabilities, $20 trillion in debt, and anemic economic growth under President Obama, which was never focused on. We need to get this thing growing. President Trump is going to put a tax cut bill in coming up in short order. That's his main he gets excited about that one. That's going to happen. The economy is going to grow. Yeah.
The chairman of your own committee says, by the way, that tax cuts don't need to be offset. On the issue of the debt, in the deficit, if there are tax cuts as part of this tax plan, Chairman Meadows of the House Freedom Caucus says that they don't need to be offset now, correct?
If we can get tax cuts in play, that will get us 4% economic growth instead of 1.5%. And so that growth right there will offset, right? You got to believe that tax cuts happen like JFK. When JFK passed tax cut, we got 5% real growth. And then Reagan, we got over 4% real growth. We can do it again. And we're going to come out of this smelling like roses because we're going to do the right thing. We're not in a hurry. That bill had a 3-week artificial deadline on it. It was very hard to get everybody together in 3 weeks. We're going to get it done. And the American people are going to be very happy when they see the work of President Trump along with Congress coming up.
You guys got a lot of quotes this morning. Smelling like roses. Last hour it was mob mentality. Before you go, we just want to follow up on one thing you said to John's question. You said the president is being ill-advised when he tweeted that, very critical of your committee. Ill-advised by whom?
There's a narrative coming out, right? Everyone goes after the conservative members always. There were more moderate members who were going to walk away from that bill at the end. That's why the vote was pulled, right? So there's a narrative out there always against the most conservative members in the conservative caucus. And then we're called right wing and all this kind of stuff. I follow James Madison. I did a PhD in economics. I went to Princeton Seminary. I follow Adam Smith from the Scottish Enlightenment, who gave us free markets. That's not right wing. That's what made this country great in the first place, right? If you put those things together, and President Trump knows what those great things are, right? The Judeo-Christian tradition, the rule of law, free markets, that is what pumped up his base when he ran and sent him over the top. We want to maintain that tradition that made us so great. You don't do that by growing Washington, D.C.
But who
you got to
gave
shrink
him the bad
D.C.
advice? Who gave him the bad advice? It's a one or two word answer.
Yeah, it's across the board. He's been getting bad counsel from the media, from some in leadership, who said that some of us should not even exist up here. I mean, there's just we need to be on a team and get a good product that lowers price, and we can do that in short order.
Okay, Republican Congressman Dave Brat, thank you for joining us.
You bet.
Very interesting to hear that.
You are giving the president bad counsel, the media.
The media is giving the president